back, put your hand here, bring your sheet down. Those of you who've had Swedish, you know this already, and that gives you a good clean line. Now she has undergarment on. I would say to her, do you mind if I tuck this in? This way, if they're wearing something higher, you can kind of push it down a little bit so you can get more. Okay, because that's a boundary. You don't go under it, you don't cross it. This way, when you tuck this in, you're not tempted to go underneath. And that's when I'll expose a little bit more of the hip on either side. I do like this oil.
It's nice, ain't it?
Oh, I'll be high. No, I'm kidding.
I wish it worked like that.
So oil in your hands. Put it this way, when I take my hands off of her, I don't want this. So you start with your Swedish strokes to spread the oil, and as you're doing it, you're feeling for any tightness. So my next step, I gotta tuck you in again, sorry. My next step is to do the next part of, I've done the glutes, I wanna do the sacrum. But I've got to get this oil on there. So I'm going to do some QL right here. I'm going to come down and try and get those, the iliolumbar ligaments where they sit. There's the two little dimples here in the back. And I'm pushing down on the sacrum. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing side to side. I want to make sure she's got wiggle in her butt. That means her hips are moving. If she's stuck, if you go to push and it doesn't move, then you need to loosen the glute and the QL a little bit more to get that butt to move. Wiggle when you walk. You need to have the wiggle wiggle. Another thing I like to do is when I'm doing it after I've loosened up some of the low back, I'll put my hand right here where the sacrum is and gently put some traction on the spine, just with one hand. And then the QL, remember, it goes down here to the hip. And those strokes that you learned, the more I can combine, I do. The more strokes I can put into one. So that broke it up in the upper back and the lower. Just do it all at once. Okay, so also, I'm going to walk in front of you guys again, sorry. The QL stretch, which everyone seems to like. One hand, now the hand closest to the head goes on the hip, right on the hip. The other one, either over or under, however it works, like this. You want to push down and push this way. So your hands go opposite. So get yourself right here, push down. Push the hip down and push this other hand. You can go all the way up to the neck. It gives a nice stretch. How's that feel? Really nice. And then I'll work from down here. I'll work on the back. You can go all the way up. Now I do some neck work up here. I call it wringing the neck. I get my hands here and I just grab and pull like you're wringing the neck. Okay? Shoulder work, that stroke going around the shoulder. If you think of the shoulder blade, smack dab in the middle is 99% of the time a trigger point. So you find the shoulder, get right in the middle, and you're going to find something.
Yeah, affected her.
Now, if you see that, and you hear that, it's a little bit too much. Okay. But it's usually, this is a bit...
But she said it feels good, so you continue.
Right. Okay. But if you see that, you back off a little bit, and then when she says, oh, that feels good, then you go for more.
Okay.
Okay?
That's the cue.
So if you see that, then you know you're too deep, and if you hear the, oh, shit, then you know that was mild. I've been sworn at harder than that before. But see how I'm rolling? That's a tight muscle and a trigger right here in the middle of the shoulder. So another way you can get it is, ooh, no charge for that. You can pop up the shoulder blade, and she's sweating. So there are some signs that this might be too much, even though her head is saying, oh, that's great. Her body's saying, back off. So you can also get under the shoulder blade this way. What I do is I put my hand on the front of the shoulder, and I can pop up the shoulder and get right under here. You can bring your arm down if you'd like. Sorry, this way. And if you get your thumb under the shoulder blade here, you're getting those rotators underneath. And you can also take her hand off the table.
Keep breathing, Zara.
Sorry. I want to make sure that they can record.
Nobody was asked that. That's the thing. That's why I like it.
But basically, that's pretty much the whole thing, Dana. I'm going to show them.